Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 9, most confidential knowledge, text 6. So, would you all like to repeat? Then we could say, Yatha Kasha Sthito Nityam. Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan. Tatha Sarvani Bhutani Matsthaniti Upadharaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. And Krishna is saying the entire material world is resting in me. And yet he says, I'm a person, and he's enjoying in Golok Vrindavan. And he's there having so many pastimes in every universe of the material world. Nitya Leela, Krishna's Leelas are Nitya, eternal. Not that it happened 5,000 years ago, so chapter finished. It's not that, oh, why do I need to understand it now? It's not happening. No, these are eternal pastimes. They're continuously happening. And yet Krishna is saying, this entire creation is resting in me. So when Krishna, when he was small, a baby, he ate some earth, some dirt. And then the friends, Krishna's friends, went to tell Yashoda Mai, Krishna's eaten some dirt. And it was then Yashoda Mai rushed there and she said, you ate dirt? No, I didn't eat. He was like, just moving, like in negation, nodding his head. She said, open your mouth. And when he opened his mouth, she could see all the universes there. All the entire creation she could see in his mouth. And then she saw herself there and Krishna there. And she got so bewildered. She was like, what's happening? And he quickly took away the scene. So because he didn't want her to think of him as God, he wanted her to continue having this loving relationship with him, that he's my son, I need to protect. So it's inconceivable how everything is belonging to him, how everything is in him, yet he comes 5,000 years ago, yet he came inside this very universe. And currently he is in some universe or the other of this material creation. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive. And in that sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. So the sky is pervading everywhere. Wherever we see, the sky is always there. In the space, it's always there. And what's inside the space? There's the air. We may be able to feel it, we may not be able to feel it, but it's there. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. So the sky is there, of this earth, of this universe. The wind is also within that diameter of the sky. It doesn't go beyond. It does not go beyond the boundary, the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. So why does the sun rise every morning in the east and set in the west? Suppose one day the Surya Dev says, oh, today I will rise from north, or today let me try from the west. We do that sometimes, right? We may say, oh, why every day I have to do the same thing? Let me try another route. Let me try something different. No, but Surya Dev, why? because he is under the fear of Krishna. This is Krishna's system. He does it. That's the way it is. Why the plants will breathe in carbon dioxide in the morning when the sun is there and breathe out oxygen and breathe out oxygen during the day and breathe out carbon dioxide during the night. This is Krishna's system. It is his will. Everything is happening by Krishna's will. It's not that these things are randomly happening and that Krishna is subject to the will. That is the mistake that we make. That is our misconception. We think that the material energy, she is more powerful than Krishna. No, she is working according to Krishna's will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We may say, oh, how? No, the blade of grass is moving because the wind is moving. That's why the blade of grass is moving. Yeah, but who made the system? Who has made that system? It's Krishna who's made it. There was one time where the demigods got a little proud. And so there was a blade of grass put there. And all the demigods tried to move it. Surya Dev, the wind god, rain god, Indra Dev, all of them tried to move that blade of grass. It couldn't move. When Krishna moved it, it moved. Then that's the reason it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Only when Krishna desires, then things happen. Thus, everything is moving under his will. By his will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, he is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. So the wind is within the sky, but the wind and the sky are separate. They don't get mixed up. The sky is the sky, the wind is the wind. Similarly, everything is happening here by the will of the Lord. By Krishna's will, that he is creating this material world, he's maintaining this material world, and then he also destroys this material world. We have to understand, when the material world is destroyed, does it mean that the material energy is destroyed? No. The material energy can never be destroyed. She's eternal. Why? Because Krishna is eternal. So everything in relation to him is eternal. The material energy is eternal. The spiritual energy is eternal. And we, the living entities, are also eternal. It's just that the material world, this cosmic manifestation is sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest. Sometimes created and maintained, and sometimes destroyed. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Yad Misha Vata Pavate, it is out of fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. Taittiriya Upanishad 281. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 389, it is stated, Etasya va aksharasya prasha Shane Gargi Surya Chandramasa Vidrita Tithishta Etasya Va Aksharasya Prashasane Gargi Dva Aprathiva Vidita Tishtaha. By the supreme order, under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun, the moon, and the other great planets are moving. So we may think everything is happening because I'm wanting it. Because of me, everything's happening. But no, we may want the sun to be out. We may want the day not to end. But the sun is not going to listen to us. We may want it to stop raining, but the rain does not listen to us. Who does it listen to? Krishna. It's Krishna's order. That's the reason when Krishna was doing the Rasa Leela, he elongated that one night into one day of Brahma. because the gopis wanted to be with him so much, he just made that one night into one day of Brahma, which is 1,000 cycles of Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug. Can we do that? No. Yet we claim that we are God. Yakchakshur esa savita sakala grahanam Raja samasta sura murti ashesha tejaha Yasyajnaya brahmati samvrita kala chakro Govindam adi purusham tam aham bhajami. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord, and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. So this is the Brahma Samhita, which has been sung by Lord Brahma. Brahma's prayers after he saw Golok Vrindavan, after he saw the beautiful form of Krishna. So Lord Brahma recites this beautiful, beautiful prayers, glorifying Krishna. Govindam Adipurusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Govinda, you are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you are my seed-giving Father. This is what Lord Brahma is saying. And he's saying that the Lord is one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord. So what does it mean? Does it mean that Krishna does not still have his Shyam Sundar form? He has. His Shyam Sundar form is still there. It's an eternal form. But he has this universal form where all the lower planets are his feet, then the middle planets are his waist, and then the higher planets are the upper part of his body, his face. So the sun is called the eyes of the Supreme. What does the sun do? Immense potency to diffuse heat and light. So who has given this heat and light potency to the sun? Why is it given to the sun and not to the moon? It's Krishna's will. This is how he has designed it. Still, it is moving in its prescribed orbit by the order and supreme will of Govinda. So as we said, that the sun, every day, it has its fixed orbit, doesn't move from the orbit at all. Why? Because it's Krishna's order by the supreme will of Govinda. This is what Lord Brahma is telling us. Lord Brahma is a pure devotee. So he's teaching us, he's telling us about the absolute truth. So from the Vedic literature, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We may think that we are the controllers of this material world, but it is not us, it is Krishna. Krishna, who is the supreme controller. Many of us don't want to even hear about it. Many of us, even after hearing about it, don't want to accept it, don't want to believe in it. Why? Because our desire to be the controller is so great. That's the reason we are here in the material world. Our desire to be God and our envy that why is Krishna God? So depending on how deep is the desire, to that degree, we may not even want to hear that I'm not the controller, that, oh, Krishna is the controller. But this is a fact, whether we accept it or we don't accept it, whether we believe in it or we don't believe in it. We can't change the absolute truth. It is a fact. The fact is not dependent on our belief. The fact is not dependent on our faith. The fact is not dependent on our acceptance. The fact is the fact. The absolute truth is the absolute truth and in no way dependent on us. This will be further explained in the later verses of this chapter. Is that all right? So,
yes, it's all right, but it is very complicated, right? Many things I
Yes.
don't understand exactly.
It's right. That's right. And so we have to hear and chant more because Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanati. I can be understood only by devotional service. If we try to understand with our mind is going to completely give us something else,
Confused. Yes.
confuse us. Yes. Because
Yes.
why? Because our mind is material. Our mind is very limited. It is only it can go only as much as the material energy can allow it. It's
Mm.
fixed only with the material. It cannot approach the spiritual. It cannot. Like how we have a visa, cannot enter into another domain. So that is the same way. So how do we know? How can we understand? We hear more, we chant more, and like
Mm.
that, our consciousness will become more and purified.
Yes.
Then we will be able to understand more and more Krishna's position and our position.
Mm.
With the mind, we will
Yes.
never be able to understand.
Yes.
We
Like
need
we
to
need to surrender, right? We need to
understand.
surrender without knowing anything or without trying to explore or go into the depth of this.
But
Or,
again, this can be it can be misused. It's not that we become mindless totally and just
yeah.
accept and
Yes, I
you know,
understood. Yes.
like when we say, oh, with the mind, we cannot, sure, we need to apply our logic. We can use our mind to try to understand what Krishna is saying. Oh, what is Krishna saying? Let me try to understand what he's saying instead of
Mm.
completely rejecting, no, what he's saying is false. This is how we can apply the mind.
Mm.
Let me see
Yes.
that it's
Yes.
not that, oh, we have to blindly accept it. No, no, no. So we try to apply the mind to try to understand what is Krishna saying. How can I
Mm.
try to understand it that way?
Yes. True.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying.